Alright, welcome in everybody. This is PJ Miller, and I just got my GoPro Hero 4, and I also have the Hero 3+Black. So I wanted to give you a quick comparison of the two. So we'll kind of start out with the case on the outside. Both of them come with your standard mounts here. There's a twist lock so that you can put it in there. Very new, so it's still pretty tight there. Those come out, still has your standard pins here. Same mounting system, it comes with the bases, you slide those in. So those are all the same as the Hero 3. As far as the actual cases themselves, these cases are pretty similar, as you can see. They both got the buttons on the front. Side buttons, and then they have the top buttons. The latching system is the newer latching system that they used on the 3 pluses, not like the 3s that had that little flap deal that you had to pull up. If we turn them over here, you can look at the back, and this is pretty much the same. So these cases are interchangeable. You can use one or the other. You can switch them in and out any way you want to. So that's a pretty good thing about it, so that you can just grab one and go. As we open it up, and then this is where you'll see a difference is on these back doors. A little bit of a difference just in the system that it uses here. If you can see that there, they just got a couple of pads right there on that one. This one just has the one pad. But the real difference is the other doors that it comes with. If you have seen the original 3+Black, it came with this door, and that gave it the ability to let a little bit more sound in, if that's what you wanted. This one comes with this one. It's got a little bit more of an opening here, so almost the whole back of it is open. There's just pads going around the sides, and then one right here on the top. Both still all have the rings. So those are good. This one, obviously, with it being open, is not watertight. So there's that. But the other back that it comes with is actually one that is made, since this is the silver edition, since it has a LCD screen on the back. This one comes with one where it makes it so you can still touch through it, much like if you have a cell phone and you want to be able to, you put one of those VisiShields on it, so it has a screen that you can touch through there, or the OtterBox, any of those kind of things where you can still touch through it. So that's actually pretty cool that it comes with that extra back, so that you can still use it if you want to keep it in the housing but want to be able to access the touch screen. So that's a really great addition there. For the actual GoPros, we'll take a look at those real quick. From the front here, same size, same height. You can see them both there, both the same height, both same width there, and they're same thickness. So from the outside dimensions, they are the same. Probably the first thing you'll notice on these when you look at it is the LEDs in the front. So those two LEDs have changed over here. So it's got the red on the top and the blue on the bottom. So you can kind of see that there on this side here. You got the red on the top and the blue on the bottom. So it's a little bit different than this one, which had the LEDs right there. But it's still got the power mode button right there. Still got the side buttons on each of them. You can see that there. But as we flip this thing over right here, the biggest couple things that you'll notice is, first of all, the battery on the 3+Black is right here on the back. It's got this little release right here, so you just release that. The little door opens. So the little door comes off, and there's your battery. So, but with the With the 4 silver, This has a nice screen here on the back, so they put the door down here at the bottom. It's just got a little catch right here, little divot that you can pull on. Make sure you get it all the way out, and then it just pops open. It's got your little tab here for your battery. You can just pull that out, and this is the battery. It's different shape than the one for the GoPro 3+Black or any of the previous ones. You can tell that there's a little bit different shape. They're not quite the same size. The most notable thing here is the little bump that it's got here where the pins are. That's definitely different than the where they are on the original battery. Kind of makes it a little bit harder. Obviously, given the design of the GoPros, it made it so that you had to have a little bit different battery design. Probably the biggest thing is if you have one of these original chargers like that right there, like that guy, which fits the original batteries, it won't work for the new batteries. So if you have this charger or a charger that works with it, then you might have to get a new one if you get one of the new GoPros. So we got the battery, and then as I talked about before, probably the biggest change for the 4 over the 3+Black is the LCD screen on the back. That only comes with the silver edition. It does not come with the black edition of the 4. So that is exclusive to this one. So that means if you have the backpack for any of these, you don't need it on this one. So it's kind of nice. That was one of the things that kind of drew me to this one. I'll kind of go over some of the other points of why I chose this one over going with the black one. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn this on. Same button as on the other one, and as you can see there, you got your screen in the front. Still gives you pretty much the same information. It's got your battery level, whatever mode you're in, how much, if you've taken videos or stills, what number you're on, what your settings are as far as for video. It tells you up on the left there what mode you're in. This should be in video wide. So still gives you all that same information in the front. So if you want to go by that, you can. But the great thing is now that you got this nice screen in the back here, so makes it a lot easier. A lot of stuff that I've done in the past when I'm trying to set it up is that I use my GoPro app. So this will make it a little bit easier if I don't have to hook up the Wi-Fi and do all that kind of stuff, and I can just kind of use this to frame the shot. It also makes it a little bit easier to go through settings. So the image quality, and as you can see right there, after a few minutes, the screen will go blank, but all you have to do is touch it, and it'll come back on. And this is one other thing. So it has a lock mode so that no one can go around and mess with it, or you don't accidentally do anything to it. So what you have to do is you touch it. It's got this little red circle right here, and then there's a little lock thing. So you got to go down, you have to drag it down. You have to hold it there for about a second, and then there's a little lock circle, fills up, and then it pops out. Much like if you've got a cell phone or anything like that, you can unlock it the same way. So if you notice here on the right-hand part of the screen, there's a little line, and that gives you the ability to bring up the menu. So you can slide that over, and it gives you all of the options there. And so you can choose what mode you want: video, single, burst, playback, or settings. So if you go to settings, and it kind of goes through some of the just the basic settings, like if you want to turn your wireless, if you want to hook up to either a remote or a GoPro app, this is where you turn the wireless on. Touch display, you can go through there, and it'll turn the lock on whether or not you want it to be locked when it comes back on. Your brightness, you have the power display on there, so there's a few options on there. Go back here. Orientation, so if you want to flip it, if you got your GoPro upside down, you can change the orientation so that it puts the bottom side up. It's got default mode. Quick capture. Quick capture is a new feature to this one. It's going to be a one touch, so once you hit the button and you start it up, it's going to, actually when you hit the button and start it up, it's going to start recording automatically, which is kind of a nice feature. If you've got something you need to do real quick, then you don't have to worry about going through the menu and waiting for it and then starting it. So LEDs. I always like to turn the LEDs off. You know, some people like to have them on so they know when it's going or when your Wi-Fi is being used. That's really a personal preference. I always turn them off. Beeps, I always turn those off because I don't want the sound on any videos, because a lot of times I'll have them next to each other, and so I just want to make sure that those are off. Gives you your video format, the on-screen display is on, auto off, so is it going to turn itself off, date and time, if you want to delete anything off your SD cards, and then a reset. And so I'll kind of go into the video cards. Just like on the 3+ here, it's got the slots on the side for if you got any upgrades, if you get the battery backup or anything like that. It still has the slots there on the side. But if you turn it to the side, it's still got your three different extensions here. It's got your power for HDMI or for a USB. It's got your HDMI mini output, and then this is your slot. It takes the USB or takes your SD cards, so it's the little micro SD cards. I actually just got 3 of them. They were $17.99. They're the SanDisk Extreme Plus 32 gigabytes, so that was a pretty good deal. But always make sure that you have some of these around. You want to make sure that you have enough to record whatever you're going to be doing. So and that's same thing, just make sure your SD card as it sits in there, just make sure that you get it all the way in. So that's your basic settings here on the GoPro. So if I back out, now there are obviously more settings because you have to decide if you're in video mode, you know, what you want to record at, if you're in picture mode, what you want all your settings to be. So to do that, whatever mode you're in, so right now we are in the video mode, so you just swipe up from the bottom and it gives you another set. So just the regular settings is you come from the right, and if you want the specific settings for video or picture, that comes up from the bottom. So mode is video. They also have a new one. It's video and photo. So that means it'll take pictures while it's doing the video, which is actually pretty cool. Sometimes it's hard to do a screenshot or anything like that for a video. It doesn't always turn out that well. So being able to take some pictures as it's doing the video is pretty nice. And then also again has video looping, so that'll just continuously go and just re-record over itself. Resolution. This is the silver edition, so it does the 4K, but it only goes to 15 frames per second is the highest that the 4K goes, but you can do the 2.7 and do that at 30 frames per second, so that's still pretty good resolution there. Most people will be using 1080. They have the super view or the regular view, and the 1080 on this one goes up to 60 frames per second. One of the big things about the black edition of the 4 is that it will do 120 frames per second on the slow motion stuff with the black one at 1080, which is pretty nice. And it also will do the 4K at 30 frames per second. So that was the biggest difference between this one and the black one. For what I'm doing, I don't necessarily need the 4K. Having the 1080 at 120 frames per second would have been very nice, but I do a lot of stuff on either a live feed or it is going up on the internet. So having it 1080 doesn't necessarily a big thing, because it still does have the, if I can go down to the 720, and it will give me the 120 frames per second. So I still have the 120 frames per second. It's a little bit disappointed that they didn't go up to 240 here on the 720. I was really hoping that that would have it, but it doesn't. So not a big deal. Not a deal breaker for me. And field of view, you can again do wide, medium, and narrow. There are some more settings on this version. It's got the low light, so it gives a little bit better picture if it's dark outside. Spot meter. Pro Tunes is the biggest thing for both video and photo. It gives you a little bit more options on what you want your settings to be. You can change your white balance, your coloring, your ISO limit, sharpness, EV compensation, and then you can reset it. So if you know what you're doing with some of these settings, then and you want a specific look, this definitely gives you a little bit more ability to be able to do those kind of things. So that's the video settings. And so if we pop back over here and we go to single, so that would be just photo camera. So we can do it in a single, continuous, and night. So again, it gives you that night where you can get a little bit better shot for nighttime cameras, nighttime photography. Still does the 12 megapixels, and does a wide 7, all the way down to 5 megapixel medium. So definitely some great photos can come from that. If you ever look at the GoPro site, they always have some pretty good photos that come directly from the cameras. Same thing, spot meter, Pro Tune. Again, you have the white balance, the ISO limit, sharpness, EV compensation. So a lot of the same settings that you had for the video, you have for photo as well. And then burst. So you can do the burst, time lapse, or the night time lapse. Again, the night time lapse gives you a little bit, it's a little bit more geared towards doing stuff at night, letting in a little bit more light. Definitely want to make sure that the camera is in a spot where it's going to be still. You kind of have to mess around with that one a little bit, just because your settings are going to be different, so you're not going to get a lot of fast movement. That's going to cause some blurry pictures. So kind of mess around with that, and you'll get the seconds. So if you're doing burst mode, you can do 30 per second. You know, all the way. You can go from 30 in 3 seconds all the way up to 3 a second. So 30 in 1 second, 30 in 2 seconds. So it's got a lot of different settings here. And then of course it's got the same options as the regular photo does. Just the actual screen itself here, I wouldn't trust it as far as coloring or how your actual picture is going to look. From what I've noticed, it's not as good as what the actual picture that comes out, which is kind of expected. It's not meant to be a true viewfinder for true colors. You're not, color balancing or anything off of it, but it still is great to be able to frame your shot with and not have to pull out your phone or your iPad or anything like that to be able to frame the shot. So that's definitely a great option there. Kind of go back to some of the stuff that came with it. Comes with a lot of your typical things. Like I talked about, the back doors. It has the 2 other options on the back door: the one that's totally open and the one that allows you to still use the touch screen here. So there are those 2. I also got an extra battery. I would always recommend having extra batteries To go along with that is actually having extra SD cards. You want to make sure you always have enough of these, because nothing worse than you're trying to film something and you run out of battery or you run out of SD card to be able to record it. So having lots of those, as you can see, I bought 3 of them from Best Buy on Black Friday, so it was a really good deal. It has the locking piece came with it, a couple of adhesive pads, adhesive mounts, comes with the USB charging. So yeah, it does work with the regular GoPro application that you get on either your iPad, iPhone, whatever phone you have. It'll work with all of those. So so even if you don't want to use this LCD screen, or it's got somewhere up high, I do some stuff with some basketball, and I use this as a basket cam, so it's sitting up in the back. So it'll still be good to have, to be able to use the application to be able to make sure that the shot I want is still there, because the basket gets hit and moved and stuff like that. I just want to make sure that I still have a good shot. So or if it's in a place where you don't readily have access to it, being able to have that app still is a great thing. But so I'll kind of, the reason that I chose to go with this over the black was, first of all, $100. I don't have an extra $100 to throw away if I didn't really need to. I didn't really need the 4K. I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, that the 4K it's great, and eventually things are going to go that way. But for right now, I think that I will wait on the 4K just for the fact that there's not a lot of places to be able to play it right now. But I did like this screen on the back, and so that advantage that this one has over the black was kind of given also the $100 was kind of the reason that I went with it. The one thing that I wish this one did come with that the black one does have would be the 1080 at 120 frames per second. So it's that was the one thing that I was really tempted to get, just because of that. But as far as video footage, everything I've shot with it so far has been really good, and the low light stuff is, I think, where this one is going to be superior to this one. To the 4 is going to be superior to the Hero 3 Black. I think just having a few more options and being able to control it a little bit more freedom to control settings will be a little bit better if you know what you're doing. So all in all, I'm really happy that I was able to get it. This is my second GoPro, so I think this is going to be good to be able to have a couple of different options, using them together. I have used other GoPros at the same time, getting different shots, different point of views on them. So it's good to now have my own, so that I don't have to borrow it from somebody or anything like that. All right, well, if you have any questions, I'll put some of the details of the new stuff in the comment section down below. Make sure you follow the page, and you'll see more videos coming of GoPros footage. I believe I have one up there right now of a rafting trip that I went on earlier in the summer. So make sure you go and check that one out. I'll put that link down in the comment section as well. Make sure you like the video, let your friends know, and I'll see you next time.